Did you hear about the Roman who was so bad at math he could only count up to IV? A little Roman numeral humor to start us off. Now, we've all heard the old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, but it seems that some tourists take this saying a tad too literally. Picture this, a group of well-meaning tourists, armed with their best high school Italian, attempting to order a classic Roman pizza. Vorrei una pizza con pollo e ananas, per favore, they proudly proclaim, only to be met with a look of utter bewilderment from the local pizzaiolo. Why? Because in Rome, chicken and pineapple on pizza is as foreign a concept as snow in the Sahara. And then there are the brave souls who, inspired by the spirit of ancient Roman explorers, decide to navigate the city's winding, labyrinthine streets without a map. They start off at the iconic Colosseum, take a right turn here, a left turn there, and before they know it, they've somehow ended up in the residential district of Trastevere, miles away from their intended destination of the Spanish Steps. But hey, at least they got to see some off-the-beaten-path sights, right? Let's not forget about the tourists who, in a bid to blend in with the locals, swap their usual shorts and flip-flops for a smart blazer and leather shoes, only to realize too late that cobblestone streets and high-heeled boots are not exactly a match made in heaven. Oh, the trials and tribulations of trying to fit in. But despite these humorous misadventures, there's something endearing about the way tourists embrace the local culture and customs, even if they don't always get it right. Because at the end of the day, it's these experiences, the unexpected detours, the lost in translation moments, the fashion faux pas, that make a trip to Rome truly unforgettable. So remember, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, but maybe bring a map and a translator. What do you call a smiling Roman soldier? Gladiator. But seriously, folks, let's dive into the fascinating world of modern-day Rome, where the spirit of the ancient gladiators still roams free. Tourists visiting Rome often find themselves in the grip of gladiator fever. They don their plastic helmets, clutch their foam swords, and transform into the warriors of yesteryear. They are not fighting for their lives in the Colosseum. Instead, they're battling for the perfect Instagram shot. Consider, for instance, the tale of the Jones family from Brighton. On their Roman holiday, they decided to stage an impromptu gladiator fight in the middle of the Forum. With plastic swords in hand and colander helmets on their heads, they engaged in a fierce yet hilariously awkward battle. Dad Jones, in a fit of enthusiasm, ended up toppling over a row of souvenir stands, much to the amusement of the watching crowd. Or take the story of Miss Penelope Potts, an art teacher from Leeds. Penelope decided she would become a living statue, a gladiator turned to stone. She posed, motionless, in front of the Colosseum for nearly an hour. The result? A flock of pigeons mistook her for a real statue, and well, let's just say the dry cleaners had a field day. And let's not forget the countless tourists who, in their quest for the ultimate gladiator selfie, have attempted to mimic the iconic Russell Crowe pose from Gladiator, only to realize that shouting, "Are you not entertained?" in the middle of a crowded Roman street gets you plenty of strange looks, but not much applause. In the heart of Rome, amidst ancient ruins and timeless art, these modern-day gladiators bring a dash of humor and a whole lot of fun. They remind us that Rome isn't just a city of history and culture, but also a city of laughter and joy. So when you visit Rome, you might get a chance to be a gladiator. Just remember, no actual fighting, please. Why did the Roman go to the Colosseum? He thought there was a sale, because he heard it was 50% off. Yes, you heard it right, folks. Rome, with its ancient architecture, can often leave tourists scratching their heads in utter confusion. Take the Colosseum, for instance. This massive, half-broken structure that once hosted epic gladiator battles is now a misunderstood architectural wonder. There was this one tourist who, after staring at it for quite some time, asked a local, "Is this where they film the Hunger Games?" The local, trying his best not to burst into laughter, replied, "No, my friend, this is where they filmed Gladiator, the real one, not the Hollywood version." Then there's the Pantheon, a grand old building with a giant hole in its roof. One day a tourist was overheard exclaiming, "Oh, so this is where they invented the skylight." Little did they know the Romans were a bit ahead of their time on that one, but not quite in the way they imagined. And who could forget the time a group of tourists mistook the Roman Forum for an ancient shopping mall? They spent hours wandering around, looking for the food court and souvenir shops. Imagine their disappointment when they discovered it was just a bunch of old ruins. Let's not even get started on the Spanish Steps. One flabbergasted visitor wondered why there was no escalator. All these steps and not an escalator in sight, they sighed. The Romans really missed a trick there. Rome, with its ancient relics, can certainly throw a curveball at the unsuspecting tourist, but isn't that part of its charm? The city's ability to evoke laughter, surprise, and a sense of awe is what makes it truly timeless. So Rome's ancient architecture might be a bit confusing, but it's all part of the city's timeless charm. And remember, the Colosseum is not for sale. So, we've laughed, we've cried from laughing, and we've toured Rome in the silliest way possible. We've seen the comedy of errors that occurs when tourists try to interpret the phrase, "When in Rome, do as the Romans do." A simple saying that leads to the most comical attempts at blending in. We've also witnessed the antics of the modern-day gladiators who, rather than fighting lions and each other, battle for the perfect selfie with tourists. They might not be as fierce as their historical counterparts, but they certainly are a lot funnier. And let's not forget the humorous confusion around Rome's ancient architecture. From the attempts to climb the Colosseum, believing it to be a giant jungle gym, to the mistaken belief that the Pantheon was an ancient Roman pancake house. And that, my friends, is Rome, a city that's as full of history as it is of humor. Remember, laughter is universal, so when in Rome, feel free to laugh out loud.